Some people get intimidated saying I'm not an athlete. If you have a body, you're an athlete. You are training for the best life possible. All we are is energy, sound, vibration, and light. You better have a detox plan because your body's breaking muscle. So why not include more things that raise your vibration?
Hello and welcome to another episode of Root to Rise. I'm your host, Dr. Emily Spickle, and today's guest is going to be awesome. I've been trying to lock down this guy for a long time, but he is traveling nonstop, educating and spreading the word of the power of healing and using certain technology and modalities to help your body heal itself. Now, before we bring him on, I will share his bio real quick. Today, I am joined by Dr. Sean Drake, who is a chiropractor, performance innovator, and educator whose work lives at the intersection of technology, physiology, and human potential. Dr. Sean blends PEMF, which we're going to go into, photobiomodulation, breathwork, movement, and nervous system regulation to help people heal, recover, and perform at their highest level. And in today's episode, we are going to dive into what's possible when you combine ancient practices with modern technology and how Dr. Sean builds personalized healing stacks and why our nervous system is the true gateway to resilience. Whether we're training, traveling, or navigating the demands of everyday life, we hold the power to heal ourselves. Thanks so much for joining me, Dr. Sean.
Oh, it's an honor. Honestly, I'm so impressed with everything you've done, everything you continue to do, and just the people that I see you reaching out to and touching. So it's an honor to be on here. It's ironic that we live in the same city. It takes us to finally get on a podcast together to be able to see each other. So I'm honored to be here.
Of course. And the irony is we're not even in person. We're doing it virtually, but all good. There's the technology. So before we jump into all these different topics that I want to go into, I know that you absolutely love tapping into our body's natural healing response. Can you just share a little bit about what that means to you, why you do what you do, and why you love to teach people about healing their own body?
Well, I think the big thing comes from why I became a chiropractor.
Okay.
And I love chiropractic in the sense that take the adjustment out of it for a second. Take, the idea that, you're going in for an appointment. Just the idea that the body has an innate ability to heal itself as long as there's no interference, that alone philosophically changed my entire life. Mm-hmm. I was in school, got into a bad car accident, developed ulcerative colitis, had all these issues. And it wasn't until a chiropractor and a naturopath said, hey, your body can heal itself. You don't have to have this major surgery. You don't have to take these drugs. You don't have to do these things. And as I started to realize how true that statement was, that's when I really started to dive into everything else that we'll talk about during this episode. But then also, my practice has evolved from when I graduated to where I'm at right now. And it's even continually evolving. January, we're launching our new approach to how we're going to do things in the clinic. Yep. Intensives that I do with people that fly in for 3 to 5 days. And then on the teaching side of how to actually use these modalities to help you be your own practitioner. Mm-hmm. And whether that's, and that came through a divorce, and we'll talk about that on the podcast, where I fell into the deepest depression I've ever been in. Okay. And, I took my office, it was a performance-based clinic for, athletes, and I had to learn how to use these modalities to re-heal myself, to be able to have capacity to do anything, let alone an Ironman. So that's kind of where I come from. And, I think anyone who has the ability to get interference out of the way, anything's possible.
So has your office shifted then from a focus on athletes and to just all individuals, or what type of patient do you see?
So I will say this, if you have a body, you're an athlete. Exactly. Right? Yeah. And, I think some people get intimidated saying, I don't want to go to modern athlete because I'm not an athlete. Mm. That's where I challenge people. I'm like, here's the deal. Life is a sport and you have to train for life. Life's going to throw a lot of things at you. You may not be a professional athlete on the field, but you are an athlete in your life, whether that's, being a mom, dad, business owner, employee, trying to do something on the weekend, being a weekend warrior. It all takes energy. It all takes capacity. It takes resilience. And, when we have all these things coming at us, I think the reason that some people fall into this, I'm going to call it this, but complacency or this fact of, being numb and numbing themselves is because they
Mm-hmm.
forget that life is a sport. So
Mm-hmm.
when you come to our clinic or you work with me personally or you work with my wife, Kiki, I tell people, I'm like, you are training for the best life possible. And if that's not the biggest sport, then, you can be a fan of watching a sport. But for me, I want to be in it. Like
Yeah.
I want to be doing whatever I need to do to like live my best life. So, we've got ranges. Obviously, I take care of a ton of professional athletes. That's what
Yep.
I've been known for. But ironically, like I'm tapping in high to the CEOs right now, where they're flying in for 3 to 5 days, and we're doing some deep, deep, deep work. Ironically, like I take care of a ton of pregnant women.
Mm.
Um, my passion is pediatrics, to be honest.
Wow.
Like I love working with babies and kids because
Okay.
that's the next generation, right?
Yeah.
And so I would joke with all of my players. I'm like, here's the deal, guys and girls. Now that I got your body efficient, be careful. You're probably going to, get pregnant pretty quick. Um, and then I'm like, not only are you going to have the byproduct of being a phenomenal athlete, you're going to be able to build this like awesome human being from
Yeah.
birth. So
Yeah.
you walk around my clinic, any major player that's on my wall, their wives have been in here, and I take care of their kids within 2 weeks of birth.
Wow. That's awesome. I love that. And this is not one of my questions I was thinking of, but it just makes my mind go that way. How much of your work is centered around like mindset? And is that so interplayed with our healing response and tapping into this natural healing response
100%.
within the body?
So I think mindset's a massive thing of what I do.
Okay.
And, I often talk about, I work with a ton of like sports psychologists that work with my players, and I work with some of the top people that are middle coaches that are, working with my guys and like females. But I always tell them, like, you can go to a therapist, you can talk about a problem, you can go to the chiropractor, PT, work on the body. But if you're not connecting these two together, you get stuck sometimes. Like,
Mm-hmm.
the body keeps score. We know that book. We know, oh man, just Waking the Tiger,
Yep.
Peter Levine's work. But it's, when you talk about a problem, and yeah, you can be working through it, but all you're doing is moving that energy somewhere else in the body sometimes,
Mm.
right?
Okay.
And so on the other side, you can have a pain problem and you're working the physical body, but all you're doing is taking that response back, but the emotion's still stuck in there.
Mm-hmm.
So what I do is I basically connect science and soul, and I say, okay, what's the fastest way I can get you to feel, think anything that's going on with you? And then take this physical problem, work them together, and erase it out of your nervous system.
Yeah. I mean, that I've had other guests on, so I know my listeners are already like, yes, like we speak the language of the body, kind of holding these emotions. But I do want to go into that more. So I'm, again, switching the order of my questions because I want to talk about breath work. And I was introduced to breath work. I did a little bit of it when I was in New York City. And then part of what I connected with you on and followed your work, and I didn't take any session with you, is that you actually led breath work sessions. And, it took me a couple years to get to the point that now I'm doing it where you used to teach it and you're not there anymore. But can you share with the listeners about breath work? What does that mean? Is that different than box breathing? What type of breath work did you lead?
Yeah.
And just how do you weave that into this story?
So every single room inside my clinic has a different type of breath work.
Okay.
So if you look at the traditional, let's take, and if you're not a religious person listening to this podcast, it's okay. But I'm going to use this analogy, which I think is so important. Yahweh is God, right? And Yahweh is breath. Yahweh. Like, so if you look at like traditional prayers or hymns, they're forms of meditation.
Mm-hmm.
They were breath work. And so if you look at monks, if you look at yoga, the breath is the most powerful thing we have that's free. We get breath when we come in this world, and then we lose our last breath when we go out of this world.
Mm-hmm.
So to me, breath work was the most transformative thing, from a kid on. I grew up with a dad that was special forces and a mom that was supply in the military. And, my dad at a very young age had me doing breath work to control my anger.
Wow.
My nervous system overall, like when we were swimming, holding my breath underwater. So I only knew breath work from a performance standpoint. I didn't know he was working on my emotions during that time.
Okay.
And, it was later when I moved here to Phoenix that both my dogs got killed out in front of our house. And I
Mm,
had this major trauma response, right? And Kim and Jake are phenomenal people. I go to the breathwork studio still. I taught there for 3 years,
yeah.
but they teach a very specific conscious connected breath at that
Okay.
breathwork studio. And I started going, I started seeing a lot of, changes within my own nervous system. And so I
Okay.
started to read breathwork and I was like, why am I getting such an impactful, experience out of this?
Mm-hmm.
One's the music, right? The music during the breath work changes the tone, changes the frequency, so it can bring you up, it can bring you down, it can
Okay.
bring you up, you down. It can put you onto a river meditative state. So with the conscious connected, what it's doing is it's actually releasing DMT from your pineal gland. So you're actually getting a true drug response that's natural that allows your subconscious to work problems out that are maybe going on physically, emotionally, spiritually. And so I dove deep into that.
Can you share more about what is conscious connected? Because I knew of it as
Yeah.
holotropic,
So
which I don't know if that's the same.
holotropic is a trademarked breathwork, right?
Okay.
So holotropic is very similar. It's also a very conscious connected breathwork, but
Okay.
they have trademarked their name, right? And their
Okay.
style. And it's like saying I go to Bikram yoga versus hot yoga versus, so in these realms, you have people that have developed their style of breath work. And so
Okay.
holotropic, very similar. So it's a
Okay.
continuous breath, right? And when you start really diving deep into all of these different types of breath work, some of them are made for excitation. Some are made for calm. Like
Okay.
if you breathe in your nose, out your nose, it's going to be more of a calm meditative state. If you're in your nose, out your mouth, this is going to be more of what some people call the shamanic insight, revelation, sacred geometry. So you're going to be able to get some
Okay.
more, you don't go into a hypoxia as much. So you're able to get deeper and deeper and deeper into the emotional
Okay.
state. With the conscious connected, in the way that we've taught it, is that once you figure, we give you in the nose, out the nose, in the nose, out the mouth, in the mouth, out the mouth.
Okay.
Whichever's most comfortable to you, you're going to work through during that breath work. And that's a self-guided breath work on your
Okay.
own once you're released.
Okay.
Then I have a breath work that I've developed that I work with men and certain women that is a warrior style breath work.
Hmm.
Very fast paced. It's very high energy. Think of it like HIIT training.
Okay.
But it's meant to stoke emotion. It's meant to like light the fire inside you to get this warrior back out. So
Okay.
breath work to me is everything. No matter what I'm doing with the player, whether they're with me, they're on the road, they're getting ready for a big game, they're coming down. I've got different breath works that I teach every one of my patients. And I'm like, hey, I need you to do this. And here's why.
Okay. And that is part of their healing protocol, meaning that you are looking at, as you said, soul to,
It's
you had
science meets soul, right?
science meets soul. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're trying to tap into the soul in this healing journey.
100%.
I love that, warrior. So does it, this is totally side question, but I'm uniquely intrigued with rage. Random.
Yeah.
But the warrior breath that you brought up makes me think that, and I've personally found that some of my greatest personal growth has been during somatic breath work that I do, is that I push into the rage and just let my body and give me free will to feel all of that rage that I feel that I could like never vocalize from childhood. Is that kind of what you mean by warriors, tapping into that aspect?
Oh, no, so the warrior side, well, again, I like that you're bringing up tapping into emotion, right?
Okay.
And one of the things that I often explain to people, I'm like, we get stuck in emotions that we like, right? Like, think of like a keyboard.
Mm-hmm.
And there's so many other keys on this keyboard that we just haven't played, or we've never been taught safety to be able to play. Like some people are taught like stuck in frustration, anger, disappointment, these low frequencies, right?
Okay.
Because they've never been able to be safe enough to have joy, peace, love, harmony, in these higher frequencies. And so when you're looking at somatic and you're looking at expression, I really think the power there is that you're in a safe environment to fully let go.
Okay.
And so I think sometimes what we perceive as rage is just stored energy that needs to be let out. And so like, this is why I'm a huge fan. I tell people on the first visit with me, I'm like, I'm a genie. You get 3 wishes. What are your 3 wishes? The second thing I do is I say, look, I need you to feel everything in this clinic. I need you, if you feel like you want to cry, cry. If you want to scream, scream. If you want to like break something, we'll go out back. Like, I actually love rage rooms. I think, I've certain clients that like I prescribe them to go to rage rooms. So
oh my God, I love that.
Stuff, right? Because at the end of the day, like it's, especially you got to think about some of the NFL guys that I work with that retire. They have an identity crisis. They have nothing to hit me, and this has been their life. And so they've got to find an outlet to be able to get this out. And sometimes it's not working out. It's finding a new way to use that skill set, to use that energy that really allows you to have resilience and get back into a day-to-day life.
Yeah. Oh my God. I love that. I love that. So how do you create safety in your office?
Well, I think it begins with you. Like I got to show them that they're safe within themselves. Right.
Okay.
And so I'm sitting in a solo dome right now. Like I'm a huge fan of sound vibration frequency. Okay. One of the things that I love about the solo dome is that when you sit back in it, it's literally like you're encompassed in a cocoon.
Wow.
And so the first thing I do is you get in and you're just like, you can't hear anything outside. And you're in this like peace state. And now I give you happy. I have you hold happy. And I have you just in like, I put essential oils on it and like you just sit there. So now I create not only an aromatic effect, which is Ayurvedic, like, so you create an emotional connection. Now I put a sound frequency in the background. Okay. And I actually train your nervous system of safety within the solo dome. And then from there, I'm going to move you through certain modalities to let you know that your body's safe before I even touch you, before I even examine you. Because you may have all these like emergency breaks throughout your body that if I just said, hey, I'm just going to go ahead and assess your body right now, it's going to be a false positive. It's like, okay, this is the true thing that we should be looking at. So once we're able to use the modalities in different ways to get you into a parasympathetic state, now you're in safety. Now your body trusts me. Now your soul trusts me. Now I can say, hey, this is what I see. Now we can actually start to affect the physical with the emotional, with the spiritual.
Yep. Oh my God. So I love all of this and I need to go to your space, which I know I need to do. And you told me, so I'll get the appointment.
No, but I love where this is going.
I absolutely love the way that your mind works. So talk about vibroacoustics, or just talk about sound and frequency. Because I love to talk about vibration and frequency. And I know sound is vibration, but a little bit more of how, whether it's in breath work, it was using sound, or I don't know if you use binaural beats, but just what does that whole space mean to you?
So if anything, it's like all we are is energy, sound, vibration, and light.
Okay.
All we are is light particles, period, right? In reality, we're just meat suits walking around with a soul inside of them that is made of matter that's going to go back into the earth. So in reality, all we are is a element on this earth. So all we are is an element on this earth. We're a frequency. If we're a frequency, that's what our body needs. And I think that's where most people now are like, they used to call it woo-woo, but they're like, holy shoot, like gongs actually matter. Sound bowls matter. I have these in my clinic, right? I've, tuning forks. So your body connectively has different, like say a tendon has a different frequency than a blood vessel, has a different frequency than a bone, has a different frequency than brain matter. So once you really start to understand sound and vibration, you can literally change anything. You can kill tumors. And like, I can say this because now there's Harvard studies that are actually showing sound waves actually kill cancer. And, to me, it's also like, for what I love to do is like, if I got a guy that is like struggling with the yips or like, has a confidence issue, like I'll get them into a good state. I'll ramp them up and then I'll play their walk-up song. Or, I offer a date experience called the Molly experience. And no, I don't give MDMA in my clinic. But I call it the Molly experience because it's the same effect as taking Molly or MDMA. by I get couples that are struggling or that want to enhance their relationship, and we basically reset their entire nervous system.
Mm-hmm.
Then I put them in here and I'll play their like wedding song, or I'll play their love song. And then we put them into a really deep breath work, and then we send them on a date night at the ends here locally with Tommy.
Huh.
And so when you think about energy, it doesn't matter if you're working on sport, if you're working on creativity, like music and sound is such a big piece of this. And so you can start to intertwine those frequencies. And my buddy Sean, he's like, if you know, I love the best of the best, right? Like, I've got a Morosco Forge in here for a reason, because it's the most elite cold plunge there is, that has grounded water, gets to 32 degrees, has ice. And some people are like, oh, that's too cold. I'm like, I'm not using this to sit in and get recovery. I'm using this to train your nervous system for resilience. I need chaos, right? So his sound bed, which we're going to be getting one, is a Psalm Alive Z5 experience. And it's like, it's a zero gravity chair, and it's the transducers in it are unbelievable. Like, In Harmony's got a phenomenal bed. There's a couple beds out there that I really love, but this is, in my opinion, the Rolls Royce. And when you get off of it, it's like everything in your body is reset. And this is why, like I tell people, I'm like, you can't just pick one modality,
right?
Because your body needs all these different inputs, so that way you can truly optimize and be clear and focus and perform at your highest level. That's why I'm not a big fan of just saying, oh, I'm going to go jump on blank because I like the way it feels. I'm like, it's like saying, okay, I love bench press. Well, I'm bench pressing all the time, and yeah, I'm getting good and strong at it, but I'm not focusing on the other things that are going on.
Yeah.
So you plateau your nervous system sometimes with some of these modalities.
Yeah.
If you don't have other ways to influence the nervous system so that you can raise the capacity of that modality.
Yep. I often tell patients that it's really the totality or the synergy of them all kind of working together. Like, there's no magic one approach. So for the listeners, if you go back to sound for just a moment, because they might not have this very, very expensive bed that you're talking about.
Right. But headphones, right? Like, Solo Tones, which is the same developers as Solodome, like they've got some of the best sound healing that I've ever seen.
And is it? It's certain frequencies.
Certain frequencies. They've got different type of binaural beats. They've got crystal frequencies. They have a crystal app now that our friend Amaris is helping take over and run with. So crystal frequency, but crystals have sound. Like, if you actually play sound or you use energy near a crystal, you're actually going to get a frequency from it, right? So they've got those. There's tons of apps out there right now that have amazing sound frequencies that can help you heal. 528, like, I can go down the list of all of them. But at the end of the day, like, are you trying to calm your nervous system? Are you trying to excite your nervous system? Are you trying to create a performance effect? Are you trying to create a rest effect? So really, where like any sound, I have giant subwoofers that I bought that I put in rooms when I'm doing breath works to vibrate the room, to vibrate the people around them. And that's why I have the best of the best speakers when we're running anything in this clinic, because I need the vibration effect, not just the sound.
Right. Okay. So that I was totally going to ask the question. It's like you read my mind. So I love doing different sound baths and things like that. And as a mom, I can't always go to the sound bath. I have to do it on YouTube with the headphones. And I've always wondered, sound headphones versus in the actual room with the crystal bowl that is vibrating. Do you still get a benefit literally just from headphone sound?
You will not get the max benefit. In my opinion, right? Because the true being of that sound bowl is that carrying wave across the room. Right? However, you're still getting a tonal effect to the brain, to the body. Like, so there's the tone effect that comes into the ear. And there's the vibroacoustic effect that comes through your body. That's why if you can have a subwoofer or something near you, along with watching that, and there's a lot of things on YouTube that are out there that say they're the best sound, whatever, and their frequency isn't even right because of the way that it was reported in. And so you've got to be really careful too. Like, for me,
Okay.
like I won't do certain breath works that are put online because I don't know what subliminal messages are put into that breath work within that space.
Okay.
Um, like I protect my energy a lot. Like there's only
Yeah.
certain trust, allowing myself to go into that realm, that quantum realm, that fourth dimension to do the work because
Yeah.
like that's my goal. And there's a lot of stuff out there and a lot of people, and they may not be malintent, but they have an intention of what they're trying to accomplish.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that that is so important for the listeners to know because I question that, but I'm very into vibration. So I was like, I just don't know if I'm getting the same effect if I'm just listening to headphones. And the majority of people are not going to know that. They may see it at face value. Oh, I think I heard that like binaural beats are good for XYZ. So it's trying to get that full effect of what you were saying.
Well,
So,
binaural beats, if you look at the actual like education and research on it, it's tonal. So it is what's coming
okay.
through the ear,
So
right?
that's only matters. That
In
doesn't
my
have to be in an actual room.
no, from a binaural beat perspective, you're looking for a tonal.
Oh,
Needing to
okay.
come in, right? So it's
Okay.
training the brain within like the binaural beat. So
Got it.
that's a big thing when you look at that. This is my dog
Okay.
though.
Okay.
I'm fine.
He's hanging out. Okay, thank you for that. Thank you for that. And I know we have so much more to talk about, so I want to keep going to some other topics that I know you were very passionate about. And this one I heard from you when I met you at a chiropractic conference that we were both speaking at, and it was you had these PEMF beds or like a mat, and I'll allow you share about it. But I was very intrigued. Didn't fully understand it. I was actually a little bit scared about it because I thought it was going to shock me. So I didn't even go on it at the conference. But can you share for the listeners a little bit about PEMF, what it stands for, the power behind it, and why you are so into this method?
So PEMF is just pulse electromagnetic field, right?
Okay.
So you get that from walking on sand, grounding, being around nature. Like that's why vortexes are so powerful. Like they have electromagnetic fields. When you look at PMF, there's a lot of misunderstanding around PMF, right? Because a lot of people be like, "Oh, I have a PMF mat." I'm like, "Great. What kind of mat do you have?" And they'll give me and I'll be like, "Okay, that's a low Gauss PMF. That's low energy." If you come into our clinic, I've got high Gauss systems because when you're with me, my job is not to maintain your energy. My job is to change your energy, to either give you more, bring you down, and actually be able to play your nervous system. So I need to be able to, number one, change the hertz of frequency of the PMF and give you energy and power beyond that, right? Like that's why a lot of people feel like they're convulsing on a high Gauss, PMF versus a low Gauss system. You're not really going to feel much. If you're very in tune with your body, like I can feel the PMF on low Gauss systems. There's crystal mats out there that a lot of people have, biomats, and like those are PMF mats. Then there's like coil low Gauss PMF mats out there that will give you PMF. And then there's high Gauss PMF that may be spark gap technology, where you can only turn it high or low, and that's that really powerful. And then you've got other systems that are high Gauss that you can actually change the hertz. So you can actually go into a higher frequency at a power, and it's going to give you energy over time. So that's going to put you more into parasympathetic. Or I can give you a ton of energy, and I can get really, really deep to help bone heal, help tissue heal. Or I can actually start to like bring your energy up so you can go perform on the field. So when you're looking at PMF, there's a range of things that you want to look at and what you're looking for. Now on this side, you're going to spend anywhere from 500 to 6,000. On this side, you're going to spend anywhere from like 9 to 100,000.
Oh my God. Wow. What is the system that you have in your office?
So I've got multiple. Right now, we're moving all of our stuff over to EQ Flux Wave.
Okay.
That's our high Gauss system that I'm a huge fan of right now. The reason being is that it doesn't just have high Gauss PMF, it's got damped oscillation. So I can actually create a thermal effect in the body now, as well as play the nervous system. So all of our stuff's switching over to that. I have 7 of the other brands that are high gauss personally that we own, that we use. But that's the one that we're moving over to.
Okay. Oh my God, I have so many questions, and I know the listeners are just going to be so intrigued by PEMF. But I have to ask this. It makes me think of EMFs like a phone. And that, because I know some of the listeners are going to think this, where I thought EMF is bad. That's why they talk about the phone and cancer. So like,
100%.
Tell me about that.
So you got to think there is bad frequency, right?
Okay.
So when you look at EMF, this goes into like square versus waves.
Okay.
And it's the way that the energy is sent to the phone, right? Which is why those are bad EMFs.
Okay.
When you have a pulsed, it's more to the earth sending, grounding, nature side of energy. Okay. So think of this as like man-made, dark, like cause blank. I can't say that on this podcast. But there's stuff that you can get to protect yourselves. And on this side, if we are energy and we need to be at our best at all times, why would we not use energy in that purpose?
Right. So it's similar to the effect of grounding and earthing. Is it? So you can kind of pull in
energy, right? Yeah. So we're using a polarity of earth energy to help the body heal.
Okay. For the listeners, what type of people outside of, if you have a pulse and you're a human, I mean, I'm sure animals, you can use PEMF also, but everyone can benefit from this. But who would you think of as far as you would be like, yes, for sure, you got to go to PEMF? Is it like autoimmune? Is it stress? Is it PTSD?
Really
like
careful. What? But here's the thing is like, one size does not fit all. I tell people all the time, especially if you're in a severe dis-ease state, like, and you got autoimmune or you got Lyme or you got these things. Number one, your system's super sensitive. You got to be really careful when you're using modalities because one, you don't want to create a Hertz reaction.
Okay. What is that? What's that?
That's basically where like you're killing off stuff in your body and your body gets sick, right?
Oh, okay.
And so when you get people like they get excited about a modality and they start using it a ton, they don't think about the detox side. That's why you got to have a detox plan when you start to use these things. And like when you're in our office, like I'm constantly putting minerals in your body. I'm like having you drink water. I'm making you, I'm talking to you about getting colonics. I'm talking to you about making sure you're doing a gut cleanse. Like, because now if you're moving all this stuff, your cells are letting go of things at the same time. That's why some people are like, man, I went and tried this and I got sick. I'm like, you didn't get sick. You just overdid it.
Okay. So you have to have a detox protocol with any energy work?
I think with anything, a detox protocol should be part of everybody's life. And if you start when you're training, right? Like if you're working out and you're going to hypertrophy phase, you better have a detox plan because your body's breaking muscle. You're starting to feel like detoxification. It doesn't matter if you're using energy, if you're using frequency, whatever it is, like that should be part of everybody's plan anyway. Like you should make sure you're drinking enough water. You should make sure that you got electrolytes. You should make sure you have minerals.
Can you talk about minerals real quick?
Paige, will you lock that door for me?
Can you talk about minerals? And because I know like there's Beam Minerals and some other mineral companies that are out there. Just why they're so important, and maybe the listeners are not familiar with minerals. Electrolytes, yes, I feel that's more well known.
Well, electrolyte is a mineral, right?
Okay.
So in reality, so when you look at it, like we are electric beings. And so you need minerals to make sure that you have electrical like efficiency in your body.
Okay.
And when we lose that, then you lose opportunity for your cells, your synapses of your brain, your nerves to be able to fire the way that they need to fire. So it's why like I think Beam's a phenomenal company. There's Trace Mineral out there. There's a ton of different brands, right? Okay.
Besides the electrolytes that people are familiar with, sodium chloride, the big ones, potassium. What are other minerals that may be in there?
You got copper. You've got. Go down the list of the elemental table.
Okay.
And things that we need that people just aren't getting anymore because they're not eating the right foods. They're not. They're stuck in a processed diet. They're high sugar. And all that does is just creates inflammation in the system. And then when that happens, then all of a sudden your body's like, well, I'm going to start breaking down this to, rob Peter to pay Paul. And then here we are in a disease.
Got it. Got it. Okay. So I want to stay with PEMF and just shift a little bit because I know this has to do with your wife, Kiki, who's incredible. And and now I believe you do it now, but she was focusing on like targeted PEMF, which I was so intrigued. And I was like, how does she do this with her hands? Like, I just didn't understand. So what is the difference of PEMF on like a bed and what you and Kiki do that is targeted, which is through a device of some sort? If you could share that.
Yeah. So if you look at the bed PMF, you're creating a field.
Okay.
So you're inside the field of the PMF, right? So that's direct current. When we're using this device, which is the EQ Pro, it is a alternating current, meaning that now the PMF is coming through whatever we're using, whether that's the probe, whether it's the hand, feet. Especially for you for Nobosu, you're going to love the feet side of the EQ because we're able to use the Nobosu from a stimulation standpoint, and we're able to train the brain, the body, the nervous system within balance, within movement, within flow. So now you can actually use the PMF and actually find areas of the body that are disconnected or depolarized, repolarize them, and train them.
How do you find that they're depolarized?
So if you're using your hand, normally you're going to feel a pull. Or you're going to find areas desensitized. It's not actually reacting at all, depending on what frequency you're using, whether it's alpha, beta, gamma, or we're using a mixture of the three. And then on the probe, you're going to actually feel it's going to kind of stop or it's going to tug. And so now we know to stay in that area until that area repolarizes and opens up. And now it actually becomes more efficient. So think of it like cellular exercise. So you're creating more of the cell, of the tissue, of the area that you're attacking and trying to go after.
So would that be like a strain of a muscle?
So a strain
would
of a
create
muscle
that.
Probably depolarized, yeah.
Right. Can you pick up various visceral tissue?
100%, yeah. So one of the main things that we do is we make sure we get the whole entire gut, right?
Okay.
And Josh Parks, who's one of the creators of the EQ that now we've partnered with, he comes from a very Eastern medicine side. I come from the very Western / Eastern. Okay. And so we have brought in a lot of the meridian lines, a lot of the acupuncture points, because our organs are so important. And if like I've been studying all the organs and asymmetries for the last like 10 years, I work on everybody's stomach, I work on everybody's diaphragm. And with quantum neurology that I'm doing now, I'm actually going through all the systems, all the different areas to make sure that they're on and affected correctly.
Okay. What is quantum neurology?
So quantum neurology, George Gonzalez is my mentor. He's the guy that started it. But basically what it is, it looks at, again, the quantum side, our holographic nervous system. So looking at nerves, instead of saying, oh, I'm going to attack the joint, it's going after the actual nerve root itself, stimulating that through laser, through movement, through eye movement, cranial nerve training. So now you're working a functional neurology side of the body versus just working the physical side of the body.
Is that very spinal cord based or like nerve root based?
Both, because you got to think of peripheral nerves, right? Peripheral nerves can affect the nerve root just as much as the nerve root can affect the periphery.
Okay, both ways. Got it. Okay. Well, I know we covered a lot. And what I want to do to try to kind of get a deeper understanding of how you approach patients is, do you have any, maybe like a case study or an example of a patient that you want to share about your unique approach?
Dr. Emily that came in that never followed through. That's a case study. No, I would say like, I'll give you three, right? I think it's like three. So one, just in the last 2 weeks, one of my pro baseball players' kids, colicky, couldn't sleep. I'm like, just bring the baby in. Let me check it. I look at babies the same way I look at my athletes. You know, fascial structures, they haven't developed yet. So by working different areas within the stomach and the body and the tone, the baby started pooping, sleeping through the night. It's all nervous system related. Take the adjustment out of it for a second. If the body is in a safe environment, it's in a safe tone, and it's calm, it's going to heal. And so a lot of times, especially with kids, when they come out of the birth canal or they have a C-section, especially C-section kids, that's trauma. They didn't get to go down the vaginal canal. They didn't get the natural periods. They didn't get all these things. when you get a kid that's pulled out of C-section, I was one of these, which why I think I had so many problems and still do.
Mm.
But when you pull them out, now it's a fear response, right? They're in this like sympathetic tone.
Yep.
And so you can adjust the kid and get them to be safe and get them like, and I'll put, kids and babies and autistic kids in the solo domes. I'll put them on, our vibration. I'll put them in PEMF, like, but it's all energy based. It's getting them in safe. That's one example. Second example, like a pro athlete that comes into me, they're like, oh, my shoulder hurts. And I'm like, rarely is it ever just the shoulder, right? 90% of upper body problems are lower body issues, number one. So we attack feet first, then we go through. But again, I'm like, okay, what's your injury history? Like all these injuries that you've had throughout your life have a history. They have an energetic component to your body. They have an emotional component. So we need to work through that. And so what I'll do is I'm working with the athlete. We'll start cleansing and clearing a lot of that, right? So then we get them to move efficiently. Once we get them to move efficiently, now we can create capacity. So now I can get them to their strength coach so they can get a better workout. I can get them to their PT because honestly, I'm not a PT. I don't like physical therapy and I hate post-surgical rehab. I'll help you on the energetic, emotional side, but like I'm not a guy that's like, I'm going to sit here and measure angles on a post-surgical. That's not me. I'm like, go down the road, work with him on the PT. I'll work on everything else.
Yeah.
And then the third client that we're seeing a lot of right now are these, men and women and CEOs that are flying in for 3 to 5 days that are burnt out, that are like, or they're completely depressed and they have no purpose. They're like, I don't know what to do. I don't know what else to do. Like, and so they'll fly in and on the first day, I'm like, okay, where are you at mentally, physically, spiritually, emotionally on a scale of 10? And from there, I kind of have an idea of where they're at. And then I'm like, okay, let's list all of your traumas, whether they're physical, emotional, spiritual, emotional, like, or, mental. And then from there, we can start to dissect. And then through different modalities that we use, I can start to really get their nervous system to play. And then over the 3 days, we build the capacity. So we release, then we go energy, then we release, and we energy. So it's this constant evolution of up and down, up and down, up and down. Each day we're building on intensity and intensity and intensity. And so by the end of the third day, they're like, dude, I can run through a wall. Like they like go crap and, whether through breathwork, modalities, working the body. And one of the cool things about the EQ Pro when we're using the PEMF on the body is that PEMF is actually FDA approved for mental illness and depression.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
So as we're working the body, they're letting go of all this emotional stuff that's going through, whatever's in their history. And so now they're like, cool. And then we do integration for the next 3 months and they come back quarterly and they'll do a day or two to where we're building on and, financially depending on where they are. I've got 3 packages and I'm like, okay, here's the basic equipment I need you to purchase for home. Here's the middle I need you to purchase from. And if you've got the Rolls Royce budget, here's what I need you to do. I'm going to build a clinic inside your house and you're going to follow my protocols.
Okay. That's the part that I was going to ask you is the integration side, which I think is important. And I'm assuming these people know this, that there is no quick fix. You're not, I'm sure some people may think that you have this magical godlike effect that you can heal them and cure them, but there's a lot of that integration after. And this has to be like a lifestyle. They have to really embrace the consistency of what you're teaching them. And that's that integration side that you're talking about?
100%. I think the other side of it too is like, I find people where they live to work with them. At the end of the day, like, again, life is a sport. You got to train for it. So you have to, no matter when people fly in, the first thing I'm doing is looking at what city they're in. Who do I know? I'm launching my modalities course. So practitioners and strength coaches and people can learn how to use modalities in their clinics. And they're going to be able to say like, I'm a modern athlete certified center to where I know if I send them there, at least they're going to get a protocol based system to work on this client or keep them in tune. Right.
Yep.
And on the other side of this too, it's like, I am not your healer. You are. It's your responsibility to take, like I tell people all the time, I fire you pretty quick. Like if I know you're not doing your stuff, I'm like, look, like I don't accept mediocrity around us. Like I want excellence. And if you're, I had a guy today that showed up to my men's warrior breathwork this morning And like, I basically whispered in his ear, I'm like, you need to show yourself that you want this.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you don't, I'm done working with you. I don't care how much you're paying me. And if you come here for an intensive and you're on day 2, you're like, I'm like, here's your money, go home.
Yeah.
I am here and my team is here to make sure that you can do the work.
Mm-hmm.
And then on the follow-up, here's the tools. Like, I recommend Novosu. Like, I recommend a ton of other brands that I want them to use because I use them myself.
Yeah.
Like, I don't do anything that I'm not doing daily for myself. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. No, I love that. I love that. So as we wrap up, clearly this is evident that your mind thinks in a very unique way. And that's why I love you. And I wanted to have you on the podcast. I have to have Kiki on because I just want to hear her side of this as well. Hi, Kiki. So for the listeners, this is Dr. Drake's wife, Kiki, and she's going to come on and we're going to talk even more PEMF healing, natural healing power of the human body. So I got you next, Kiki. So to wrap, what was that?
She hates when I do that, but I love it.
Why not? Right. So to wrap this up, I would love for you to just one last time share a little bit about the energetics so the listeners can kind of like have that be the powerful takeaway of how we are energetic beings, how you look at energetics. Just leave us with that as the bow to wrap it up.
Remember, all we are is light, sound, vibration, and frequency. That's all we are. At the end of the day, you know who's around you when you turn your dimmer switch down.
Mm-hmm.
You know the foods you put in your body that turns your dimmer switch down. You know the things you watch that turns your dimmer switch down. You know the things that raise all that. So why not include more things that raise your vibration? And once you do that, it just raises your light. When you raise your light, you can do anything. Yeah. So that's how I want to finish that.
I love it. Turn that vibration up. I love that. So where do people learn more about you, see you as a patient, your website, and just all of that information so they can learn more?
So our website sucks on purpose. So I'll just tell listeners that. Our website is not meant to create mass want to come here.
Yeah.
You choose to come here or you're referred here, right?
Yep.
Like, you either really want to be the best version of you, or I got plenty of people I can refer you to. So modernathlete.com, Dr. Sean Drake on Instagram, PEMF Pilates on Instagram. That's my wife. Mm-hmm. You can do EQ Flux Wave is one of the other Instagrams you can follow. And then, when I look at a lot of the companies, like Fringe Red Light is one that we use. Like, obviously we have a whole nother podcast on photobiomodulation and other brands and things that we use in the clinic. But I think if you want to start there, those are big areas. Obviously follow Dr. Emily. Her and I finally are going to be doing a lot more together. And I think that, at the end of the day, pour into you. Like, take time. Like, I know it sounds woo-woo. Go try a breathwork class in your local area. Mm-hmm. Get into a cold plunge. Go to the sauna. Like, try some things that make you feel uncomfortable and just see what that does for your life. Because at the end of the day, you can't create resilience without safety and chaos. And like, life's already chaotic, but you just have no safety in it.
Right. I love that. Absolutely love that. So for everyone, you heard it from Dr. Sean. I would probably suggest just listening to this again because there's a lot of little nuggets, and then go research more about the vibroacoustics and PEMF and breathwork and everything that Dr. Sean said. And then I would highly suggest, if you're ready, committed, to make an appointment with him. Thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed the episode, and I will see you on another episode soon. Thank you.
Let's go.
All clear.